Hi, it's Eileen Head. 'Tis the season to be stressful. It's the Christmas season, there's lots going on, and this can really challenge relationships, especially if you are already struggling with communication issues. So whether it's the Christmas season or down the road, you may want to come back and revisit these videos. I'm going to do a three-part series, and it's going to be about how do you reconnect? What sort of communication do you need? I'm going to give you the background and all that. And I will even, for the third video, give you actual scripts of what to say, how to say it, how to set the mood, the intention, all the steps that you need to start opening communication and improving communication, and therefore improving your relationship. As I mentioned, I'm in Mexico. I'm on vacation, so no professional setup. You may hear slamming doors. You may hear people talking in the background, but let's just go. And I really want to get this to you. So let's have a look here. So share. All right. So thank you for joining me in this series. You're probably struggling with communication in your relationships. That's why you came on the call, or the lack of communication in your relationship. If you're single, what happened? How did the communication break down? If you're currently in a relationship, how can you make it better? Where are the sticking points? I'm going to help you through some of these and give you lots of insights. So you're probably feeling frustrated, misunderstood, and disconnected. Even in very good relationships, there are times when you feel like this. You're stuck and frustrated, but you've come to the right place. I'm going to take you through the steps to help you connect or reconnect in a loving way. Conversation reconnection. So part one, we're going to go through these steps. What causes disconnection? Unresolved issues, conflict, different perspectives, being unconscious and aware. What's your energy like together? And it's all about you. To give you a little background on myself, I am an intuitive, transformational personality and relationship coach. I coach couples and singles to help them find deeply intimate and meaningful relationships, because at times people do feel stuck, often trapped, powerless to change the situation they're in. And I do that by helping you shift your mindset, release old beliefs, blocks and patterns, and interpreting your personality traits so you can get the love you desire. So what do you think conversation reconnection means? Without communication, there is no connection. Communication is so that each of you can get your needs met. It is not a debate, a trial, or an attempt to persuade. It is the process of communicating back and forth for reaching a joint decision or coming to an agreement, or agreeing to disagree this time, but next time it will be your turn. Busy life can cause disconnection. We become immersed in our roles and duties. We can become focused on surviving, on work, kids, families, friendships, and outside distractions. Unresolved issues causes distance between you, and so does the lack of communication. You really have to work at it to keep it going. Our lives can be really messy. So how many of you would agree relationships can be complicated, confusing, and frustrating? Yeah, they can. Unresolved issues can cause tension in families, and you can take that into your workplace. It can affect your career. If there's tension in the home, you take that stress with you to the workplace. Fear, worry, and anxiety can be on your mind about how to handle it, how to resolve it, how to change it, reconnect, make it better. It affects all your relationships. Stress can deplete and weaken your immune system, causing dis-ease. These chronic situations, I'm going to see if I can move me up a bit away from my Oh, there we go. These chronic situations can lead to low self-esteem and great unhappiness. And it can create this circular going round and round and round. When we don't know what to do, when we can find no solution to solve it, we often want to give up, or we give up on relationships, causing it to disconnect and disintegrate. We can become like business partners, keeping it together for the kids, family, financial. It doesn't feel loving towards each other, and the energy can feel really flat. The energy is palpable. Have you ever walked into a room where you know someone's had a disagreement? You can feel that. You can see it in their body language. You can see it in how their eyes flit away from each other or have anger in them. Relationships become unhappy and unfulfilling, and it affects everything in your life. So what causes disconnection? Most failed relationships are about broken agreements, either spoken or unspoken. One of the most important things is keeping your word. When you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. Otherwise, your partner's going to lose trust with you. They're not going to trust you. They're going to become resentful. They will be unwilling to give back to you. Broken agreements are one of the crucial parts of disconnection. Lack of communication leads to miscommunications. You know, how many times have you been in a situation where you've said this and your partner interpreted this way and you've really gone off the rails? Or assumptions, you've made assumptions. Unresolved issues cause resentments to build, and building resentment leads to a lack of respect. And when there's a lack of respect, there's no longer a desire to please, to be appreciative, and the relationship goes downhill. It starts to disintegrate. The rope becomes frayed. And what do? We get busy and we go outwardly doing activities without our partners. We're looking for validation outside. We're looking for more fun a lot of times because it's very, very serious. Being in a relationship with disconnection is like walking through mud up to your shoulders. Makes life very difficult. Childhood patterns determine how we communicate. If you've been in your childhood where there wasn't great communication with your parents or between your siblings, your needs weren't being met, there's going to be triggers on this, and those are going to show up. Those unconscious things are going to go boom, and these come up in your current relationship. I believe that we never learn to problem solve when it comes to relationships and emotions. Because we have not developed the skill to speak our truth without putting the other person on the defensive, we avoid issues until they become deal breakers. So it's our communication style. You know, it can be language. You always, you don't, you should. You know, we're pointing the blame on the other person. That creates them to be defensive and downhill. Here's another big one. Fear of not getting the response we need can keep us locked in a silent and smoldering position. We're not going to say what we need because in the past you haven't fulfilled our needs, so everybody stays stuck. Speaking up can be very challenging, even for those of us who are pretty confident in other areas of our life. We can be stuck defending our own perspectives. Each of our perspectives is a result of life experiences and the beliefs we have formed as a result of those experiences. Limiting beliefs are like the rust on a car. We can cover over it, we can paint over it, but they keep bubbling up and coming through. And so it's a self-talk that we do. I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be enough. Those limiting beliefs, and they're not great for our partners either, because that brings negativism into the relationship. We can be in the same situation and have a very different perspective of what happened, as we can be triggered by the events from our past lives. Here's an example. Have you ever had a discussion with your siblings on an event that occurred in your childhood. It's amazing to see how many different perspectives there are. You can be in the same event with the same parents and siblings in the same environment and yet have very strong and different opinions of what that situation was. I've had this with my brothers, and we talk about, hey, you remember that time when, and I'll be saying, it was like this, and they'll say, no, it wasn't, it was like this, and someone else will say, no, it wasn't, it was like this. How is that possible? It is the best scientific experiment. Same situation, same environment, different perspectives. We see things from our own perspective and our own personalities. And we interact based on those perspectives and those personalities. When our needs are not being met, behaviors like keeping score can arise. And there's a scorecard. I did this for you. You didn't do this. You owe me. I'm always doing. You are not giving back. Can you feel the energy in that? It's like, ugh, ugh. Resentment builds, creates distance, keeps score of resentments. A lot of times we're not aware that we can be feeling the same thing at the same time in relationships. That's the commonality of it. We can be unsure of ourselves with you. We don't know what you expect from us. And even if you tell us, we are not sure we can live up to your expectations. We're afraid of speaking up and causing conflict. What if we ask for what we need and it's not given to us? In your relationship, that's probably occurred a number of times. You've asked for something you need. Maybe your partner hasn't picked up on it, or they were unable to give it to you at that time. And there the trust starts to fall apart, and it becomes too painful to ask for what you need because we form that limiting belief that if they don't give it to us, they don't love us. And that's not really true a lot of time. Unconscious, unaware of how important that is to you. All sorts of things can be wrapped up into that. Assumptions, unclear and no communication are relationship breakers. If you're a man, you might have the fear to provide. If you're a woman, you might have the fear of being able to do it all or not be lovable or desirable. 3 parts to every relationship. You with your past experiences, limiting beliefs and perceptions. The other person with their past beliefs and perceptions, and the relationship where you put these all together. Can you see why that could cause some issues and misperceptions and assumptions and expectations? Yeah, definitely can. Relationships are the greatest opportunity for personal growth. When you begin to heal the past and heal the wounds of the past and have great communication, and you have a partner who's there to help you do that, to work through issues as they come up between the two of you, so you know you're listened to, heard, and appreciated. That's when there's a great relationship. That's when you're looking for opportunities to grow, and you embrace every situation and you say, oh, that's been coming up a lot of times. That must be a life lesson for me. I better look at that pattern. It's a reoccurring pattern. Therefore, I'm the common denominator, and that may be occurring in other relationships and not just with your partner. So they are an opportunity to grow. Relationships need to be like looking after a dog. Analogy, think of the relationship as a pet dog. It needs to be fed, walked, given attention. Depending on the type of dog, whether it's a little dog or a big dog or a very energetic dog, some are higher maintenance and others will settle into a routine faster than others. There are certain times when they need to be nurtured. If you forget to give them water or food, the dog will die. It will not thrive without loving attention. Relationships are the same. They need attention, care, nurturing, and love. Are you aware that we can either be contributing to or contaminating our relationships? When we take accountability for ourselves and we look at maybe a past argument or something, what were we in that relationship? Were we contributing or contaminating? And when you can stay in the contributing state, even though your partner may be contaminating, that's when you can hold space for the other person. If you can do that without blame or without resentment, that's where real growth comes about. Both of you need to be committed, conscious, and aware. If one person is constantly working on the relationship and the other person is more focused on work or other interests, the relationship will suffer. Relationship needs loving gestures. Gestures are really, really important. You know, if I'm with someone and we go out for an evening and they order the drink that they know I like, or the food that I like, or go to a place I like, that is a loving gesture. When we're doing things that we know our partner likes, when we're showing them appreciation, when we're telling them that we appreciate them or what we love about them, that's the foundations of building strong relationship. Appreciation is the secret sauce of connecting and loving. There can never be enough appreciation. Most of us didn't get that validation in our childhood. So being appreciated by someone you're looking to love you is monumental. It is critical. It is the juice of a relationship. In order to be healthy, you need to be healthy as an individual. Being unconscious and unaware. We live mostly conscious. Our thoughts create our reality. Similar to typing words on a computer, the mind accepts whatever you put in it with your thoughts, words, and results in your actions and the outcome. Whatever thoughts or words you speak, your mind will accept them as fact. If you tell your mind you can't, you won't be able to. If you tell your mind you're not worthy, your mind will believe that. If you tell your mind you're not good enough, you won't be, because that is what your mind will believe. Be conscious of your thoughts and how you speak, as that will determine how you create and live your life. Conflict arises. It does in all relationships. What you are fighting about is not what the real issue is. There are underlying feelings of being unloved and unappreciated. So a lot of people will fight, we fight about silly things in relationships, like you're always leaving the cupboard doors open, or you never. So hear the words, you're always, you're never, you never do that. You never pick up your dishes and put them in the sink. You never do these. But underneath that is that we want to be respected. We want to be responded to. We want to be appreciated. We want to be loved. So that's really what you're fighting about, and not the real issues. 2/3 of what couples fight about are individual personality perspective differences and are irreconcilable unless you know your personalities. The Enneagram is a passion for me, Enneagram personalities. And anybody who knows about me, they know I love the Enneagram. They call me the Enneagram Queen. The Enneagram has been around since the 1700s. It's a very sophisticated model of personality development. It is used in many corporations use it, religions, therapists, counselors. What is so unique about it from any other personality models is there is a path of development. So it not only tells you what your strengths are, which we all love, but it also tells you your challenges and how you can take those challenges and develop those into strengths. And when I first read my biography, or my profile rather, it was like reading my own biography. I love the things about me that other people loved, but the other things stung, like, ooh, that stings a bit. Like, yeah, but I knew it was true. It also showed me what other people value in me and how I feel emotionally loved. If you do not know that for yourself, you will not be able to communicate that to your partner, and you may never get to the depth of relationship of feeling truly loved. The Enneagram will help you understand how each of you thinks, feels, acts, reacts, our own view of the world, perception, and again, how we feel valued and emotionally loved. It's the foundation of my coaching. It's the first thing I do, because then we don't need to discover, well, who are you? How do you think? How do you feel? we'll know those patterns, and we can really get to the depth of what you're needing in your life to create the life you desire. There is a free personality test on my website, eileenhead.com. It's a 9-paragraph. And after that, I even offer a free phone call to make sure you've determined your home personality type, because then all the information is freakishly accurate on helping you understand yourself. And are you aware of what your partner needs to feel valued and loved? I do couples readings, and I interpret your personalities for you in the coaching and put you together and show you, well, this person thinks this way, you think this way. Why is that? What's the underlying feelings under that? So that you can respond to each other. It's a much faster approach to reconnecting, re-energizing relationships. Reconnecting. I don't know what that first sentence is or what I was meaning to say, so we'll pass by that. But here's the thing is, why is it that we can get along with so well with some people, and with other people, there's always a struggle? And again, it comes back to when you learn the Enneagram, you'll learn the different personalities. Some are more logical, some are more emotional, some are more instinct. And so, different perspectives, again, operating from different systems. So it's sort of like, it's sort of like cell phones. There's Apple, there's Android, there's iPhone, they all do the same things, but they have a different operating system. That's similar to people and personalities. You need to be plugged into each other. A laptop can run on its own source for a period of time before the battery runs out of power and the computer shuts down. However, if the laptop is plugged into an outlet, energy source, the computer has power to continue forever. How are you plugged into each other? See, the more appreciation, positive feedback, loving gestures you give each other, the more energy you will have in the relationship and with each other. The more negativism, the more disconnection, the heavier the energy, the more unhappiness and more difficulty. It's I struggled in a marriage for 35 years, and we were unable to communicate. Great people, same values, same morals, same goals, but it felt like I was walking in mud up to my neck. And whatever I tried to communicate, it didn't work. And that ended the relationship. I'm going to pass by that. So here's a picture of our energy between us. Connection and energy are critical for the health of a relationship. What is your energy like together? Have you thought about that? Is there tension? Carefulness, like walking on eggshells? Lots of silence? That's heavy energy. That's really heavy energy. People can walk into the house and they can feel that. Have you ever walked into a room where someone's had an argument and you can tell from their body language, the energy in the room, how their eyes will look away from each other with anger or flash? Or are you comfortable around each other, easily laughing together, feeling loved, accepted, and appreciated? And when that is, you're not afraid of making mistakes because your partner will understand it. You're not afraid of being perfect. You are able to be who you are. Realizations. We become attracted to someone and create a relationship. And along with that comes baggage, past relationships, family history, unresolved issues from past relationships. And those issues can trigger in our current relationship. So again, what you're fighting about may not be what you're fighting about. It can be a previous issue that still has a pattern of triggering you. All relationships require compromise and a need to accept things. Issues are going to rise, so pick your battles. Reconnection awareness. Some of the steps are for the initial stages of reconnecting. So focus on what's going on. Maybe on the weekend or Friday night, you set the stage and you sit down with your partner, you put on some music and you pour a glass of wine and you say, what really went well for me this week was this. What I really appreciated was you helping out with supper or doing the dishes. What I really, I came home really depleted from the office and you greeted me, you brought my energy up, you gave me a hug, all of those things. Talk about them, verbalize them, create options together to discuss issues. What I was challenged with this week was this. And how I do this is I teach people what I need. And so I'll say, in that situation, what I needed from you was this. Would you be willing to do that next time? Or maybe I wasn't real clear on what I needed, and so you couldn't respond to that. But you get together and you resolve the issues. Honor that both of you have your own way of seeing a situation, so not everything is going to be able to be resolved. Let go of outcome. You have no control over how the other person is going to react. The only thing you have control over is your reaction. You will never change another person unless they choose to make changes for themselves. I love this equation. It's a really impactful one. E plus R equals O. The events plus our responses determines the outcome of the experience. I'll give you an example. You're new in town. There is a gathering in the community and you go to that, but you're shy and you stand off in a corner and you don't engage with other people, and you walk out of there and you think, well, that was a waste of time. I didn't like the outcome of that. I'm not going to do that again. That was a waste of time. Then maybe you think, you know what? I'm going to give this another go. I'm going to respond differently. I'm going to go to the next gathering, and you come in and I'm going to be more outgoing this time. So you walk up and you say, hi, I'm Eileen. I'm new to the community. I'm looking for groups. Is there any pickleball? Is there any dancing? Are there any activities that I might be able to join in? And then people talk and engage, and I come out of there full of energy, different outcome. So it's not the event, it's your response to the event that changes the outcome. Take personal responsibility. We should take responsibility for the health of our relationships, our thoughts creating our reality, controlling our anger so as not to inflict negative emotion on others, our actions or inactions, and the consequences of each of those, positive or negative, our own growth, the health of our body, speaking up and communicating our wants and needs. We are responsible for creating our own happiness. Listen, listen, listen. It is not our partner's responsibility to make us happy. A lot of women believe that. It is their partner's responsibility to make them happy. Quite frankly, if you don't know what's going to make you happy, no one else will either. You are personally responsible for the outcome of any situation, not what happens to you, but how you respond to it. So thank you for part one. It got to be a little long. I like to give examples, etc. But you will have the video and you'll be able to cut it down in parts if you like. This was just part one of 3 parts. I'd like to review what we talked about today was what causes disconnection, unresolved issues, conflicts, different perspectives, being unconscious and aware, our energy together, and our responsibility. In our next video, what we're going to talk about is setting up to the process is critical. I will be giving you an exact process with scripting on how to start conversations, how to set it all up. So that's what I'm going to be going to. Attitude and intention, what language to use. It's really all about you, your story and the effect of your story, components that you can add in. It's all about you. And then in the third video, I'm going to be talking about the communication rules, negotiation, why there is resistance, and then setting the mood, starting the conversation, and the actual process. So you will be able to take all the things I've talked about and create your own process depending on your situation, how much disconnection or how much connection. I have seen relationships absolutely turn around by just changing tone, by changing voice, by changing the words, by changing your attitude to the other person, by taking responsibility. You really can create a deep, connected, loving relationship. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video, and I hope you'll join me. It'll be out in a few days, depending on how much beach time I get in this week.